Hello beautiful people, my name is Venti and today I'm bringing you my fall book haul. In addition to showing you guys all the books that I've gathered in the past 3-ish months, I'm also going to be doing the indie bookstore tag. I was tagged to do the indie bookstore tag by my friend Hannah from the Instagram Storybook Candle, who I will have linked in the description box below. And the original video was made by the channel Vintage Books, who I will also have linked below. Now, the tag was made to celebrate Indie Bookshop Week, which is, I guess, the UK's version of Indie Bookstore Day. Next one will be from the 20th to the 27th of June, 2020, so just about 6 months from now. But I think indie bookshops are rad 24/7, 365, so I'm gonna do it today. And while I'm doing the tag, I'm going to, in between each question, show you guys one of the books that I have recently purchased. And I thought it was fitting because most of these books I actually got via an indie bookstore. And at the end of the video, if all goes to plan today, nothing has been lately, so we're just gonna keep our fingers crossed, I will be taking you guys along with me on like a little mini vlog of sorts to Brookline Booksmith, the indie bookstore that is my absolute favorite here in Boston, to pick up my copy of Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I'm getting ahead of myself. Without further ado, here is the tag and here are my books. Question number 1 is, what book do you currently have in your bag? And for this, I have to say nothing. I've been in a bit of a reading slump, well, basically this entire past autumn. So what I've been doing rather than carrying a book around and reading is actually listening to podcasts. Specifically, I've been listening to The Adventure Zone, which actually has like a graphic novelization of it out. So it's like sort of reading. And the first book that I'm going to show you guys is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I know I don't really have to talk about this book because Leigh is one of Booktube's absolute favorite authors, but this is her adult debut. Ninth House is a, I would even say grimdark, paranormal fantasy following Alex Stern. Alex is a sort of down on her luck young woman who got into Yale on full scholarship, not for her academics and not for any real extracurriculars, but because she can see, without the help of any like paranormal substance, ghosts. And because of her special talents, the secret societies of Yale have a use for her, and so she's been sort of brought into their group. Things go awry for Alex when her mentor and sort of friend Darlington goes missing, and she needs to find a way to bring him back from wherever it is that he's gone. Ninth House was one of my most anticipated 2019 releases, and I think it came out at the perfect time at like the start-ish of October when the leaves were just changing and fall was kind of getting its cold clutches into the rest of us, and it's just a perfect autumn read. And if you haven't yet, I suggest you pick it up. Question number 2 is, what is the last great book you read? And for this, I have to say Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is another book that Booktube has hyped to heaven and back again, and I have to say it's very well deserved. Red, White, and Royal Blue is a political rom-com, which is not a series of words I ever thought that I would say together, set in a sort of alternate universe America where the first son of the United States and the, not crown prince, but like the spare heir of the UK meet and fall in love. And it's really, God, it's very good. It brought me right out of my reading slump and is going to enable me to read all of the books I'm going to show you, but especially because I need it for the segue of this one, Get in Trouble by Kelly Link. Kelly Link is a renowned writer. She writes short stories primarily, and they are all fantastical and beautiful, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into this short story collection. If you are sort of into the YA Booktube side of things, you may know her best for the work she does with Cassandra Clare and Holly Black. But I personally like her solo fiction best, so I'm very excited to read some of these short stories. Question number 3 is, what book is it that you have gifted the most? And for this one, I also don't have a really good answer. I try to personalize the gifts that I give people, and that extends to the books that I choose for them. Everyone has different tastes, and I try to honor that when I'm getting books for people. I don't want to give them something that they're never going to read or even look at, because that's just a waste of both my time and theirs. Speaking of gifts though, the next book that I want to show you is Itazura na Kiss by Kaoru Tada. This was gifted to me by my dear friend Lou from the channel Bookstore A Way of Life, who I'll have linked in the description box below. Listen, Lou is my Booktube wife. She and I just, there's a mental link between us that I cannot describe, with words, and just, oh God, I'm gonna cry again, aren't I? Lou and I have bonded over our share loved of manga and K-pop and books in general, and just so many other things. And if you like my channel, I strongly recommend you go check her out, because she's like me but more well-spoken. And alongside just a massive amount of stuff, and I'll insert the clip of it here because it truly is a sight to behold, and I would like to show you all of it. Lou sent me this book, the first volume of what is sure to be a very, very cute series, and I can't wait to dive into it. I don't know much about it, but I do prefer to go into manga, especially not knowing as much. Question number 4 is, what is your favorite indie bookshop? And for this, I have a childhood one and a current one. My childhood favorite indie was Flyleaf Books in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I think it was the first indie bookshop that I'd ever gone to. It's where I sort of would lose myself in the afternoons after school, because I just loved it so dearly. I have very many good memories from going there. But more recently, and I think the memories went out, maybe because they're more fresh, but maybe because they're just a little more dynamic, is Brookline Booksmith, the place I'll be taking you later in this video. Though speaking of indies, the next book I'm going to show you is from an indie publisher known as Starbright Books, and it is Pinky's Fair Day by Valerie Gorbachev. I won this book on a Twitter giveaway, and it's so cute. Look at the art in here. Just look at it. It's just so whimsical and sweet, and I really have a fondness for children's books because they pack so much story into so little space, and it's always sweet and heartwarming, so I cannot wait to give this a read. The next question is, what is my favorite book that was recommended to me by a bookseller? There's an addendum in the question, or your favorite booktuber, but I could make a whole video about the books that Booktube has recommended me and that I love, so I'm gonna go with the bookseller bit. And my answer for this is Graceling by Kristen Kishore. I'm a sucker for fantasy that is unique and centers women and has just a beautiful, wonderful romance throughout. And the entire Graceling trilogy by Kristen Kishore fits all of those things to a T. And I'm so thankful to the bookseller whose name escapes me that prompted me to pick up her books first. But as far as books recommended to me by booktubers, or I guess she's an author tuber, the next, I guess, just stack that I want to show you is just a whole bunch of thrillers that I won in Alexa Dunn's Sourcebook Fire giveaway. When the Light Went Out by Bridget Morrissey, Scared Little Rabbits by A.V. Geiger, who apparently was on Wattpad first as Adam and Jane, That Night by Sin Balog, The Last to Die by Kelly Garrett, The Last Witness by Claire McFall, The Dark Beneath the Ice, and Here There Are Monsters, both by Amalinda Berube, The Lost by Natasha Preston, who was also on Wattpad as Natasha Preston, and I Have No Secrets by Penny Jolson. It's no secret that Booktube has expanded my reading tastes. I went from reading pretty exclusively fantasy and then some sci-fi thrown in to reading things like thrillers and reading more adult books. If I wasn't on Booktube, I never would have entered Alexa's giveaway, and I never would have won all of these amazing books that I'm very excited to tell you all about. I'm kicking myself for being in a reading slump these past couple months because I feel like thrillers are perfect autumnal reads, but hopefully they'll treat me just as well in the winter months, and I'll be able to tell you what I think about all of these guys very soon. Question number 6 is, what is your favorite indie bookshop memory? And again, I have a childhood one and a now one. The childhood one is seeing Cassandra Clare on her Clockwork Prince tour and winning an Angelic Rune t-shirt that I still have someplace, and like getting to talk to her briefly about how much her work has meant to me, because I'd been following her literally since City of Bones came out, and that was really cool just to like see her. And I've since met her a couple of times, which is just absolutely bonkers to me. But my all-time absolute favorite indie bookshop memory is definitely interviewing Susan Dennard on her Blood Witch tour earlier this year. I'll have a video of that, which I'll leave in the description box below in case you want to see it. But God, even just thinking about that and how it came about is like, it just brings a huge smile to my face. I literally emailed her assistant the night before the thing, because nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? And asked, hey, would it be cool if I did a brief interview with Susan at this stop? Like, would she be all right with that? And like 15 minutes after I sent the email, she said, absolutely, Susan would love that. And so it just sort of happened. I spent the rest of the night planning out questions and heading over there and rereading Blood Witch so that it would be fresh in my mind when I talked to her, and it was just such a beautiful experience. And speaking of beautiful things, the next book I want to show you is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. And fun fact about this book and the one before it, it was a gift to me from Lou yet again, because she just doesn't stop being fantastic, does she? The next question is, what do bookshops mean to you and what do you love about them? To me, bookshops are, and libraries to some extent, basically any place that you can get books. Those are places for community. I think that literature is the coolest thing in the world because it is the way that we interface most directly with people from the past, and we get to have a direct line of access to the ideas that they thought were the most important to share, the feelings they wanted most to convey, whether it's as far in the past as like the 1600s or more recently. Libraries and bookstores are where we go to find our bookish community and to interchange our own ideas with them, and I think that that's just an absolutely beautiful thing. Question number 8 is, what are the books that made you or that most affected you? And I've answered this before in other videos, but I think every book that you read affects you in some way or another. There's not any bit of media, any idea, any feeling you can come in contact with and not leave the encounter changed. And I think books especially pack one heck of an emotional punch. So there's not one that you can finish reading and not take something away from. So I think I've been shaped by everything I've ever read before. And the book I'm going to show you for this one is Call Down the Hawk, the first of Maggie Stiefvater's Dreamer trilogy, which follows Ronan and Adam from her Raven cycle. I'm choosing this one because Maggie Stiefvater books, basically from middle school onward, have played a pretty big role in shaping who I am today. My love of whimsy can definitely be attributed, at least in part, to these books. And I'm very, very excited to start on this new journey with her and follow some of my old favorite characters who hopefully have grown up just the same way I did. Question number 9 is, what book do you recommend for Father's Day? I'm assuming that this is the question because Father's Day is the closest holiday to indie bookstore week. So I guess for the sake of this question, it'd be more like, what book do you recommend people get for Christmas or Thanksgiving if your family exchanges gifts on Thanksgiving? Like I said before, I prefer to personalize my bookish gifts, and y'all know your fathers better than I do, and you'll know their tastes better than I do, so you'll be able to pick out books for them super well. But maybe your dad is an LGBT plus ally, and maybe he loves the story of King Arthur, and maybe he's already read Corey McCarthy and Amy Rose Capetta's Once and Future. In that case, I would recommend that you pre-order for your father The Sword in the Stars, which is the sequel to Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. The book won't be out until April of 2020, but what's better than getting your dad a super fun, queer-friendly, space fantasy pre-order? I think nothing. And question number 10 is, what book is at the very top of your TBR? And this is a pretty obvious one. The answer has got to be Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. It's the conclusion of her Folk of the Air trilogy, and in just a second, you're going to see a clip of me going to get it. We are here. Fantastic. That is it for the indie bookstore tag and for my little fall book haul. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave me a thumbs up. And if you like me, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. I post videos every weekend, and I would love to have you guys join my little booktube community. I'm finally out of my reading slump, so please comment down below and tell me what book you think I should get to first, after Queen of Nothing, of course, because that's the absolute top of my list. But for now, I've got to get back to writing and reading, so that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next weekend with a new video. Goodbye.